practice still to go. 15-minute qualifying session, not a lot of time to get acclimatized to these conditions. It's going to be interesting to see who copes best with them.
Definitely, and like you say, this is not what you want to see as a driver. You know that things are just going to get more and more difficult as your race weekend goes on. They're all out at the moment in free practice. Of course, this is the qualifying stream, so thank you everybody for joining us. So qualifying is really going to be a bit mixed up here, don't you think, Connall? Because a lot of drivers, while they do seem to have consistent pace with one another in dry conditions, some drivers really do have a lot more capability in the rain than others.
Yeah, drivers and cars, obviously, different strengths and weaknesses play into different conditions. We've seen Lexus perform very well. If for those viewers who have joined us with the Sprint Cup, we've seen Lexus on pole actually in the first race due to damp conditions. So Lexus obviously strong. Another couple of manufacturers are strong in the wet, but Silverstone all about corner speed through most of the circuit. So yeah, very interesting to see which cars will be strongest here.
They will indeed, and as you can see, two of the Porsches there. That's the number 15 of Vincenzo Rossetti, and the number 99 was just behind him there in shot. I'm just trying to find out for the life of me where they are. They're actually further down the order. Samir Ibrahimi. This team, of course, won at Monza a couple of weeks ago and started their championship in the best way possible with an incredible end to the race. The Lilac Pro Spieltrieb team. What a race that was as well to commentate on. And, well, do you think we're going to see a similar finish like that today, Connall? I mean, they don't come around often.
Well, I hope so. I mean, to get 3 hours of endurance racing, especially at a tricky track like Monza, it does look on paper quite simplistic, but it is a tough track to get consistently right. For it to come down to the wire like that was just a phenomenal end, and it's a real testament to just the level that these guys are driving at in these sim grid races.
Yeah, the capability is so strong from so many of them. It certainly is going to be an interesting championship, and after that first round as well, what a big moment by Samir Ibrahimi, and the car goes around, and that is not going to be the way he wants to end up in this practice session. The only Lamborghini on track in the form of Joachim Stensnes at the moment. The Danish driver had a fantastic end to the 3 hours of Monza a couple of weeks ago. This car looked very, very powerful, and certainly matches how menacing it looks as well, as he just manages to negotiate his way around Maggots and Beckett's, and I say literally only just managing to negotiate it around there. He's got David Planiol just behind him there, or David Planiol. Race for Cat, the Romanian driver, just going down the inside at the end of the straight. But this is the thing now, in qualifying, as I said, there's going to be a big spread of talent and pace. It's going to be interesting just to see if people catch traffic on their laps, isn't it? Because that's another aspect that in the rain can affect you even more than in the dry, because a slight adjustment here or there, or just pushing a bit too hard, it can end your lap straight away.
Yeah, well, we've seen there with Ibrahimi trying to get a feeling for conditions. He made that mistake. You really can't afford to have mistakes like that if you want to be fighting for this championship, because there's a lot of high quality drivers here. A lot of people willing to take that front spot that Ibrahimi has currently in his team. Of course, winners last time out, but an all Porsche podium last time out of Monza. But Porsche, if I was out driving in the wet at Silverstone, the Porsche wouldn't exactly be my first pick, as we are on board with currently the fastest in free practice, Gregor Schill. I say, Chaz, this team, one of the biggest disappointments, you would say, at Monza, with the instance they got caught up in and their final finishing position. A lot of work to do for these guys.
Yeah, especially as the championship's concerned, it wasn't the easiest of runs for them. That incident at the start certainly set the tone for their afternoon at Monza, but Gregor Schill hopefully setting the tone today with this one in the Coach Dave Academy car, leading the way. David Martinez is second at the moment in the number 55 Race for Cat Motorsport Black Aston Martin, and Niels van der Kokel is in third for Sidemax Motorsports. Martin Laurent, one of the only Mercedes in the field, I believe the only Mercedes, didn't have the smoothest of rides at Monza either, but they're doing okay at the moment in fourth position. Mita Bonka, another great name for Mucka Motorsport in the very beautiful pink Audi that we fell in love with at Monza and spent a lot of time on board with. In fact, we'll go on board now, shall we? As he comes out of what used to be the old final corner at Luffield. You can see the visibility here is very poor, but it's true British weather though, isn't it, Connall?
Yeah, I think, Chaz, is something we've been used to through our racing careers. I remember many's a morning waking up and being in the back of our van, our very luxurious van with a hammock in the middle of it. That was my sleeping arrangements with the lack of funding that we had. But I remember waking up a few times, well, many times, on a race morning and hearing the rain pattern off the roof of the van. It's just, you sit there and you go, oh, especially if you've done all your practice, all your qualifying in dry conditions, and then you wake up race day and hear that rain. It mixes things up, but it makes for some cracking entertainment as a spectator.
It does indeed, and the rain in Assetto Corsa Competizione looking extra pretty as well. The reflections on the circuit, it really does come into its own here, and these are the ideal conditions for this sim to look as good as it does. We've got one of the McLarens here, the GT Omega RPM esports car of Jack Noller. The metallic blue looking like one of the 2Cs Motorsports McLarens that are running in the British GT Championship this year. And then just behind him is someone that you're probably going to be rooting for again today, Connall. I'm not going to... Oh, sorry, he's just ahead of him on track, actually. It's Killian Ryan Meenan in the SRJ Motorsport McLaren, and he had a great run at Monza, didn't he?
Yeah, very, very impressive performance. Of course, for those who are new joining us for this Endurance Cup, 3 different classes, Pro, Pro-Am and Silver. Of course, Silver you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, black for Pro-Am, white for Pro. So Killian Ryan Meenan, brilliant performance. I mean, up 5th overall at one point in that race previously at Monza. So yeah, great performance from him. And of course, you would think if you were in a McLaren, you would think this is your track to really capitalize. If you're going to do anything at any of the tracks on this calendar, McLaren Silverstone would be the place to do it.
Definitely, it really would, and it sounds beautiful. Does that 720S GT3? It certainly is a car that's had to grow on me a little bit visually. The rear arch is being quite flared, does look a bit strange from the side sometimes, but when you do see one up close, I've seen a couple of them in British GT as of last year. I believe it was Balfour Motorsports was running that one. Also the number 22 that they were running last season, and that is a very good looking car really when you see it up close. The front end looks a lot simpler than we used to from McLaren. I mean, the headlight arrangement is quite complex, but the way the grills and the bumper works on the very front end of it, even with the canards, it's quite simple compared to what they do, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very interesting design. It's almost it's as unique as the KTM Crossbow design GT4.
Oh God!
In terms of aesthetics, but at the same time, no matter what out of these GT cars are your favorite or least favorite aesthetically, if you were given one of them for free, you'd take your hand down for it.
Oh God, yeah! Oh yeah! Would never say no to any of them at all. Here's Igor Ogorodnikov in 7th position at the moment. I've been practicing his name, can you tell?
I can tell.
He was right up there at Monza as well, having a fantastic time, battling with a lot of the leaders. I believe he actually led the race early on as well. And the sim grid there, obviously Michael in the background, Michael Hamlet doing an absolutely smashing job, bringing us all the info as well. He's just saying the chance of this weather upcoming heavy rain was 2%, so we've pulled the blinder here, Connall, and got the 2%.
Yeah, we were doing rain dances off air there, trying to get, so any of the drivers who are unhappy with these conditions, just blame us for doing our rain dances. But yeah, well, you know what, 2%, that's crazy. It's crazy odds, but as you say, it's just a testament to actual motorsport in general that anything can and will happen. Oh,
it will indeed. It will. Michael's just saying as well, it's currently almost 2:30 in game time. Quali starts at 3, so he reckons there's going to be 30 minutes simulated in the game with rain falling and no cars driving. So it's going to effectively go from the track in the top right corner of your screen. You can see that it's considered as wet. That will go to flooded before too long, but it's only going to get more and more interesting as free practice has now finished. So a lot of the guys will just pull it over and take it back to the pits. They don't want to be staying out in this weather too long, or maybe they do, just to get used to how the car feels. This is Ryan Whitlock in the Madhouse Racing NA car, the American driver. Don't forget in the bottom left of the screen as well, you can currently see the Discord, and there is the Coach Dave Academy logo. There is also the Twitter handle and Instagram handle. Don't forget to follow the SimGrid on their respective social media channels. We'll be very grateful for that, and keep up with all updates going forward for any events or any series. There are actually some other series coming up very soon, which we'll be starting, which we have a lovely video on later for you. But at the moment, it doesn't look like this rain's going to let off, does it, Connall? I think these guys are going to have to just get out there and get used to it, as qualifying is about to get underway, mate.
Yeah, very, very interesting dynamic, of course. One driver in qualifying. You can't afford, you know, if it was a longer qualifying session, you can maybe afford a couple of driver swaps in there. But you need your fast guy to get acclimatized to these conditions, especially to get out early in case this track does become flooded. So it'll be very interesting for, as there's collision there coming out of pit lane, zone Wenlock. But yeah, interesting dynamic if the track stays wet for the race is that the number 2, the number 3 drivers, of course you can have 2 or 3 drivers on a team. When they come in, have they done enough laps in the wet, or even in a flooded track to be climatized or to be used to the setup of these cars? So yeah, very interesting. We might see guys run away with it here early on in the race, but once the driver swaps happen, it could be a different race altogether.
It certainly could be. Look at the standing water here at Silverstone. It's monsoon conditions. I remember on the old F1 97 game, you could choose monsoon as the weather, and that made it sound like it was absolutely horrendous, but not even that compares to this right now. Set Corsa Competizione doing a great job. Owen Wenlock doing that really annoying thing that drivers do on the A500 when it's raining and they don't put the lights on. As he's finding out there, he runs a bit wide, manages to collect it together. He had a beautiful drift coming out of the pit lane. But there was a bit of argy-bargy, and I believe that was Igor Ogorodnikov not quite getting going. You can see he's behind this pack now. He pulled over and then started again, so maybe just looking for a bit of clear air, but you'll have to see. Lucas Rommel, he was a driver that we were watching quite intently at Monza, and he was having a very rough race, quite a lot of incidents for him, but hopefully that Porsche this afternoon has a better ride out there today. We are going to be testing some of the TV cameras around here at Silverstone as well, just to see what gets given to us, because as you know, there are a lot of different cameras that you can use in these sims, so we'll try and make the most of it. But that is a very sketchy looking circuit, and what we'll do actually, a lot of the guys in the YouTube chat were very fond of it last time. We'll do a bit of an immersion here, and we'll go on board with the Porsche. We'll go on the bonnet, we'll turn the volume up for a sec, and we'll see what a lap looks like around here. We'll catch you in a sec. Can just see there's so many sketchy moments and just bits of hesitation, and even when you're on the brakes, I mean, a lot of people tend to think that it's all about when you're getting on the throttle in these cars, but it really is when you're on the brakes that you have to be careful as well. As there you go, round he goes. It's not easy to do, is it, to be honest? It's very, very difficult.
No, it's a very difficult thing indeed. It's going to be tough. I mean, you make a mistake here, it's a relatively long lap around Silverstone, 2-minute lap, even longer in these wet conditions, about 2:10. So with 16 minutes to go, you're not going to have a lot of time. If I were one of these drivers, although I'm not quick enough to be, I would be fueling up for the entire qualifying session and just staying out as long as possible.
Yeah, these tyres. Wet tyres on a sort of drying track really don't last at all, but if it's staying on a wet track, then they'll last a bit longer, of course, because the temperature isn't that high. So, yeah, I agree with you on that one, Connall. You've probably just got to fuel up, get out there, and get on with it. This is the number 55 Aston Martin, David Martinez driving that at the moment. He was high up in the practice session, so we're hoping to see more of that from him. Tony McCoffervan is first at the moment in qualifying, but no proper hot laps on the board yet. Here's the Audi, sounding glorious as ever. All of the cars sounding very good indeed, but I think the Audi has to be one of my favourites. I believe that is Alex Leaf in the background in the 777 Bentley, who's gone top for the moment by 0.7 of a second. But that's another thing that comes in here with the weather being as it is, isn't it, Connall? That the times in the actual sessions that we're going to see will be massively spread out, as now Leaf is actually 0.7 down from the top.
Yeah, the gaps are going to be bigger than somewhere. Yes, it just comes down to experience, really. You see, we've seen in Monza in the qualifying for the first round. I mean, I'm just looking at the times again here. The top 16 were covered by 0.8 of a second, so ridiculously close there for Monza. Times are going to be more spread out here in qualifying as people adapt to these conditions in different times. It takes a bit longer for some. I know it takes longer for me. Maybe that's just because I'm a bit slow in the head. But it takes a bit longer for me to get acclimatized to conditions, get a proper feel for them. Where some guys in a couple of laps, boom, they're straight on the pace. But it's just an interesting note on the Ferrari, the number 888 car. Gregor Schill doing the qualifying in Monza for the team. James Parker now, he is doing the qualifying, so we could see a couple of strategy changes going on with a few teams as they get used to their team dynamics in this Endurance Cup.
Yeah, they certainly can do, and David Martinez, who I mentioned a moment ago, has gone second. He's half a second off James Parker though, but still he's 0.8. Okay then, he's 0.8 clear of the car behind him. Looks like we're just having a bit of an issue there. Seems like a lot of the... something has disconnected and gone wrong there for me. Still got the weather, but no cars on track. Seems quite an interesting one. Do you still hear me, Connall? Everything all good?
Yeah, no, I'm all good. We've seen a car there with must be run nowhere rear wing there, or maybe upside down, because he took flight.
Yes, it really did take flight. And Michael's just saying he's been disconnected as well in the background, so a little bit of a server issue there, everybody. I do apologise for that. We'll go on the helicopter, which, as you can imagine, is just hovering in place. The fans down there still going for it, though. They absolutely love it. And these... Wow, look at that guy down there. He's not even wearing a T-shirt. He's wearing a vest. Now, he is definitely from the north, isn't he, Connall?
The passion of these guys is unreal. Look at them. They're still going. I mean, I don't know what exactly they're cheering at. Maybe there's a marshal picking up debris in the track and they're supporting him or something. I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, you can tell they're Northerners, can't you?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm surprised there's nobody wearing shorts.
Love it. Well, just bear with us 2 seconds, everybody, while we just get this sorted out. I'm just going to have to quit and go back, and then we'll just rejoin the server just to see. Sometimes, you know, turn it off and on again is the easiest way to do these sorts of things. So we'll rejoin and get back on it and go from there and see what happens with these guys. There we go. The session is still going on, so bear with me a second. We'll get this back with you. We'll get the TV cameras, we'll get the broadcasting and everything back on. Typical technology for you though, isn't it, Connall?
Yeah, it's always the way. I've never seen any issues so far. Lucky enough though, the server hasn't been disconnected, so these guys are blissfully unaware as they're doing their lap times that there's any issues going on. As we're back,
we have pictures back. Thank you for your patience there, everyone. Luckily we can get that quite sorted quickly. The Audi does it again there. The cars are all going off in a straight line and it keeps doing it. This is a load of fun, isn't it? Interesting indeed. Very interesting.
Yeah. Chaz, you try and get that sorted. Just for any viewers who weren't with us for Monza, I'll go through quickly qualifying results and race results here. We had Lucas Cruiser for the number 97 Porsche. He was pole in Monza. He's a bit of a pole hound, according to one of our other commentators. He is the main man. If you want a hot lap, he will do the business, and he did indeed. He was only 9,000ths of a second quicker than Gregor Schill. He is, of course, in the Ferrari Coach Dave Academy team. James Parker is driving for them too. Samir Ibrahimi bringing up the top three. He was only a 10th off, but as I said, top 16 covered by 8/10 of a second. So very, very tight qualifying in Monza. And it just shows how close all of these drivers are in terms of pace. It's crazy to think that if you're 8/10 of a second off the fastest lap time, you're in 16th position on the grid. We know that's a long, long way back. It's basically, well, it is mid-pack. So very, very interesting there for these guys to have possibly more of a gap in qualifying. But we never know with these types of drivers. We've seen races before where we expected bigger gaps, and then they're just covered by the second separating this top 15, 16, 17, however close do you like it. But of course, the number 99 car, Vicky Thompson, brought it home in Monza in a thrilling climax. They're being closed in by the number 991 Porsche, and that was a very, very tight battle. I think starting the stint, there was a 13-14 second lead. That got brought back down to 2 seconds with only 5-10 minutes to go. But unfortunately, 2 mistakes by the number 991 car made sure that they stayed in second. Vicky Thompson held on to that lead for the Lilac team. So very, very interesting. See how that Lilac team will defend, of course, their championship lead. First round, it was 2 weeks ago in Monza, and they were able to hold off and keep that championship's lead. So, of course, conditions, not really what you want to be facing when you're leading the championship after the first round. You want to have everything be feeling like normal. Those conditions will not be feeling like normal. They'll be praying for dry conditions as we get to the race. Silverstone, of course, beautiful track in the dry, a bit tricky in the wet. Of course, for a Porsche, it might be very much a handful in that wet, but we'll see. We had 3 Porsches in the top 3 last time out at Monza, so we will see if they can replicate things at Silverstone again.
Yeah, the Porsches were really what people call OP at Monza, but sorry about that, everyone. The wonderful world of technology does hate me sometimes for the amount of broadcasting I do, but it looks all so pretty at the moment, but as things stand, we have David Martinez has gone fastest in the Aston Martin, then number 55 for Race for Cat Motorsport Black. Igor Ogorodnikov has gone second, so it's 55 and 56. Martin Larenk is third in the Mercedes at the moment, doing a great job there, with James Parker now down to fourth. But the times are getting closer and closer here. The top silver car, of course, Martin Larenk, the fastest Pro-Am car, is Vincenzo Rossetti at the moment in the RM Corsa Porsche, number 15. His next challenger is Jakub Jansky in the Lexus, which I believe... No, it's not the only one, is it? We had a second one of them, which is, as we go a bit further down the order, 22nd place. Moritz Danhausen is in the other Lexus as well here today, Connall, and, well, we ogled over how good that car sounded at Monza. It's not going to sound any different today, is it?
Yeah, it's going to sound as beautiful. The second Lexus really crept up on us halfway through the Monza race. We thought there was only one, and then all of a sudden there was 2. But the Lexus, stereotypically good in the wet, and Silverstone is a tricky track to master, so these guys will be hoping that the Lexus plays into their hands here in qualifying, and maybe they'll be doing a rain dance with us.
Yeah, you never know, but the visibility... Obviously the Lexus left-hand drive as well, as most race cars tend to be. But yeah, that's not a lot of visibility on the right-hand side of the windscreen there from that, and it's just so sketchy. Even when you're going into a tight corner though, you're not really going to be able to see that much of the apex. You have to have a lot of trust in your own ability in these conditions and really be on it all the way around the lap. And while Silverstone, I'm going to say it, may not be the most exciting track in the world, it certainly is one of the most challenging, because the fact it's so flat actually catches people out, doesn't it? Because you can't always see the apexes and exits, and it sometimes the oscillating tracks, always there's a McLaren round in the middle of the circuit there, the oscillating circuits that go up and down quite a lot, they sort of hand that to you as an advantage, but around here it's a real handicap, isn't it, that it's so flat?
Yeah, no camber either. It's very difficult, especially on this track where you have to just commit to the corner so early and carry that corner speed through. Sometimes it's very difficult to stay consistent with your turn-in points. And a couple of blind corners in terms of barriers, of course, with T1 there for the motorbikes. and T1 in the F1 complex. It's difficult track to master. I think hot laps are a little easier, but racing, getting that consistency over 3 hours, will be very, very difficult indeed.
Well, it's all about the concentration, and it's all about making sure that you keep your head in the game. At the moment, we have 3 Aston Martins in the top few, and James Parker goes fastest again by 0.3 of a second. Great time by James there in the Coach Dave Academy car. At the moment, David Planiol is second in the race for Cat Aston Martin, then the other race for Cat Aston Martin is in 3rd place, so that team doing very well at the moment. Igor Ogorodnikov still in 4th place, with Van der Kokel in the Aston Martin now up to 5th. He's just ahead of Martin Larenk, and then Robin Pogadel, not quite sure how you get that one out. Nico Solman in the 991 Porsche now gets up there as well. The FTW Racing forgot to warm up team. Again, the team name's brilliant. There was one earlier on I realised was on the screen for quite a while that maybe shouldn't have been shown for that long, but it's all in good fun. This is the Sim RC car. Now, I know that last time we spoke, Connall, we both said that Sim RC has been a name that we've seen in quite a few sims, but they're right down the order at the moment in 21st, so maybe that car resembling a Wasp doesn't come out in wet weather.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. We did say mixed grids are a possibility, and we're looking at the poleman. Last time out, Lux Cruiser 16th. We're looking, as you say, Weber 21st. Killian Ryan Meenan, one of the surprise packages in Monza, 23rd. So Jack Noller, we all know Jack Noller is one of the top guys in these series. He's 27, so a lot of guys struggling in these conditions. And of course, you expect them now to make their way through the field in the race, but if conditions are the same and they're not comfortable in it, they might not. It might be good for the current pole man and the current team on pole, the Coach Steve Academy Ferrari, to really regroup after their disappointing Monza.
Indeed, and someone that may be a bit comfortable is this man in the Bentley. So, to be honest, it is a cross-channel ferry that he's driving, so I'm sure that he'll be very pleased at the moment that the anchors are off, the wet weather's out, and he can drive his big speedboat all around this circuit. And it's obviously Cheshire's finest, which I'm going to remind everyone I do live within a mile of the Bentley factory, so I get to see a lot of the brand new Bentleys come off there as they get test driven around where I live. That's a bit of a slide, catches the curb there, does Alex Leaf. And it's just so sketchy no matter what car you're in, though. And I mean, in all seriousness, of course, the Bentley is probably the biggest car out there body-wise, but it's absolutely rapid for its size. Same spec, of course, as is GT3 Racing. Bentley wouldn't enter it if it was slow. And it's a good-looking bit of kit, good-sounding bit of kit, and it goes well. So around its home circuit, you'd hope that it'd have some really good pace, Connall.
Yeah, you would hope so. I'm sure they've done many miles around here. Don't want to be hitting those sausage curbs. Of course, soaking wet track, you don't want to be running over too many curbs. But yeah, you have to use a lot of curb actually to keep the momentum at this track. So you can see that the Bentley struggling a little bit as we are on board with another Bentley, the Bentley Team M Sport. That is Dominic Tarr. 10th position for Dominic. That's a good result so far for the Bentley. I think he is top Bentley looking through the order. Yes, he is currently top Bentley. 2 Aston Martins, so second and third, Martinez and Planiol. So very interesting to see the Aston Martins coming alive here. Of course, I'm just looking down the order. The top Aston Martin at Monza was 10th. So yeah, very, very interesting to see the Aston Martins coming alive. It wasn't even any of the top 2 Aston Martins currently. It was currently 16th place Recus, the number 446 Aston Martin, that was top Aston Martin at Monza. So these two guys, Martinez and Planiol, really coming alive here at Silverstone.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting over the course of the season to see which cars excel at which circuits, which are sort of just all-rounders here or there. I believe that the Bentleys are considered to be an all-rounder of a car because it just has a very, very strong platform to build on when it comes to the setups. So, around Baggett's and Beckett, so it doesn't look too comfy though, does it, in that Bentley? It's wobbling around a bit, but Dominic Tower forcing that thing to do what he wants it to at the moment. Here is the highest placed Audi in the field, Nicholas Hillebrand in the Butler Pal Motorsport machine, number 557. Him and his teammate were having a bit of a topsy-turvy race at Monza. Plenty of progress, though, in the latter stages, which was always good to watch. Lucas Cruiser in the number 97 Sidemax Motorsports Porsche. Not seen too much from him yet in this one. Now, we were expecting him to to victory, but it doesn't look that way at the minute. So we'll keep an eye on him. He's down in he's down in 22nd place, car 97. My bad. I'll tell you what, he'd be probably still coming through the order quite well if he was down in 97th place. George Stavrakaras in the Bentley, or Stavrakaras in the No Limit Motorsport Bentley, and there is no limit to how far down the order they can be at the moment, by the look of it. 5 seconds off the pace, 6/10 off the car in front, which is Timo Braun in the McLaren. I believe this was the McLaren that spun in front of our leader earlier. This is actually the 2C's Endurance Team Blue car, so it's got sort of it's got roots from a real team as the session now finishes. So these guys will be putting in their final times now, and this is really the crunch time, isn't it? Because as one of the Lexus goes off in the background, you've got to really know whether you're on a good lap or not at this point, whether you push for it and whether you take those extra risks here, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely, and we're right at the end, so anything you have left in the tank, you got to give it your all on this last lap, and we're seeing that at the top of the time screens. Martinez now pole with a 2:10.9, Larenk in the Mercedes 2/10 off, Solomon now third in the Porsche, and Parker relegated to fourth. So it's all changes. We see Van der Kolk out now in the Aston Martin. He goes up to sixth, and he loses it as we see him smash into that wall. That's not what you want to do in real life. Luckily enough, there's no scrapes or injuries here in a sim, so he is all okay. But yeah, big change there late on in that qualifying session, Chaz.
Yeah, he got the job done, didn't he? Certainly got the job done there. Plenty of time to be gained by some of these lot, but at the same time, it's easy to get it wrong on these final fast laps. You can see our race winner from Monza just behind there, Samir Ibrahimi and the Lilac Pro Spielschreiber car. Keep an eye on them. So number 99 and 97 and 2 Porsches. There's a Porsche there recovering. That is the number 44 car from further down the order. That's Gilberto Filo in the 3M Racing. Wasn't sticking like 3M to the circuit there. Don't forget that these guys, they all are using the old Silverstone straight as the start line here. They're not using the new wing building and the new straight as the actual straight. So, if that makes sense to anybody. But a lot of the time, you do see a bit of a different situation with that as the session has now ended. So Martinez takes pole by 0.06 of a second over James Parker. I've only just noticed how close that was. Martin Laurent will line up third with Nico Solman in fourth position. David Planiol will be in fifth place with Samir Ibrahimi in sixth. Then it's Niels van der Kokelt seventh, Igor Ogorodnikov, get it right, Chaz, Robin Pogadal in ninth place, and Nicholas Hillebrand. Oh, look, it's dry. Nicholas Hillebrand will line up in 10th place. So, what that leaves us then, Connall, is a very strong grid, quite a mixed up grid as well, for a fantastic 3-hour race that will be in, 20 minutes time?
Yes, indeed. I'm very excited for this. We have seen a lot of guys who we expect to be at the front. Down, you see Cruiser, of course, the pole man last weekend, or 2 weeks ago, excuse me. And now it is dry, or seemingly dry. We'll see when we go into the other server what the conditions are. So very, very interesting grid, of course. Championship leaders, championship favourites all over the show on this grid. So we're going to have a mixed grid right up until about the 3-hour mark, which is the end of the race, of course. So we're going to have action the whole way through. But we did say, Chaz, that the grid would be more spread out, and then of course to prove us wrong, to make us look like fools, top two are covered by 0.06 of a second.
Indeed. Well, to be honest, it's going to be very, very exciting indeed, and we have a video from somebody that you all may know in the community, Theo Musanti, and I'm sorry if I've got your name wrong, but of course the series on, the SimGrid has a series coming up very soon. The SimGrid More Female Races series will be on your screens in just a couple of weeks' time. Myself and I believe Connall, will you be on the commentary for that as well?
I will indeed.
He will, yes. There you go, everybody. So at least myself and Connall will be on that one for you. But we have a quick video from Thea just to round out the stream, just to try and get some of you guys enthusiastic about it and get you guys involved. But from now, though, thank you very much, everybody, and we will see you at 2:45 for the 3 hours of Silverstone. We'll see you soon.
Hello everyone! We've announced last week the More Female Racers Championship, powered by SimGrid. It's an incredible championship where women get to drive alongside experienced co-drivers. It has 4 races, some of my favorite tracks: Misano, Hungaroring, Laguna Seca and Nurburgring. The response so far on social media has been incredibly positive and I'm really happy about it. But we need more women to get involved in this championship. So ladies, please make sure you go and register on the SimGrid website right now. Hello everyone! We've announced last week the More Female Racers Championship, powered by SimGrid. It's an incredible championship where women get to drive alongside experienced co-drivers. It has 4 races, some of my favorite tracks: Misano, Hungaroring, Laguna Seca and Nurburgring. The response so far on social media has been incredibly positive and I'm really happy about it. But we need more women to get involved in this championship. So ladies, please make sure you go and register on the SimGrid website right now. If you're fearing or you're nervous about racing online, I totally get it. I was there 6 months ago. But the best solution to get over your fear is to actually go and race online. Plus, you will have some incredible guidance from myself, from the other girls, Girl Power, and from the co-drivers, experienced co-driver that will drive alongside you. So don't wait, and I see you all on track super soon.